Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you Game 7 in the best of 7 series between teams EG, Evil Geniuses, and, TLO. So yeah, TLO's spawning as, or choosing random and getting Protoss once again. So full random, and he has said that Protoss is perhaps his weakest race, so that is very difficult for him to try to change it up. We do see that the probe is now coming out over here. We'll be setting up a pylon, and now will be making its way out across the map. TLO says, but I still suck. I don't think you suck, TLO. TLO, you're a great player. Idra, also a very great player, getting to, I believe, round of 8 or the quarterfinals. Round of 8 and the quarterfinals, and I'm not going to be reading what happened in yeah, you can just read that there. So anyways, Idra, if you haven't seen the game between Idra and Straylock, the ace match between EG and Mouse Sports, that is also another game that you can watch on my channel. It was a pretty exciting match as well. TLO pretty much spawning as Protoss, and now the key question was, did TLO ever see that Overlord? I'm not 100% sure if he was ever able to spot it, and now Idra knows what race TLO has spawned. He knows that it's also the weakest race, and Idra has to be wondering what exactly he wants to do. We do see perhaps he's going to be setting up a low ground hatchery in just a moment. Because of the farther spawning distances, he knows that it will take quite some time for Zealots to be able to even make their way across this highway here. Zealots moving very slow even on a highway before they get that Zealot speed upgrade. TLO now going into a 1 assimilator base, or getting 1 gas as well. He should be getting the Cybernetics core as soon as that gateway is completed, perhaps right here, and then we'll be able to position 1 Zealot. Oh, was that actually a fail? I believe that was a fail on the front door, or is that the seal? I believe that may be the seal. So the seal is actually here, and the seal is actually here and not here. That's not something that I typically see, but or maybe that isn't even a complete seal, and TLO just ruined his front door seal containment. We now see this 1 probe wandering around. We'll be able to walk up, see that the hatchery is there, and now taking a look inside the base of Idra. Idra is going 1 gas and also getting that spawning pool, so Zerglings will be coming out in just a moment. We should also be seeing a queen come out and being trained in just a moment as well, as queens are so integral to the Zerg army. Drones now being transferred over as this probe, and perhaps trying to set up a proxy pylon or do something. He will not be able to pylon block between these 2 ramps now, as that was fixed, or that was changed in patch 1.2. Yes, TLO does know that this is the front door seal over here, and now perhaps he's just going to sit there with a probe waiting for... No, is he going to sit there with a probe? Yeah, he is going to sit there with a probe, and oh wow, he was able to mineral path through that. I thought that they had actually fixed that, but it looked as though that drone was able to mineral path, even though this is part of patch 1.2, and that drone able to gain sight. The Zealot now being forced to give chase to that 1 scouting drone, as we now have a Stargate, and now that drone able to see the Stargate. TLO surprise is not going to be that much of a surprise very much longer. We do have Overlords positioned here and here as well, so I guess if the Phoenix took a very strange flight path, it would have been revealed. The Zealot now still trying to give chase towards that 1 drone. We now have a Stalker. That Stalker, a much better pursuer than that Zealot, and that drone is now dead by that Stalker. Back over here, 1 Zergling activating the Zelnaga Watchtower. We do have 1 Queen. Production, we are now teching the tier 2. So this may be more of a Roach Hydra play. A Queen now coming in to try to protect and defend against this 1 Phoenix. The Phoenix, however, able to get off a lot of shots onto that Overlord already, and now will be able to shoot it down. Down it goes, and now we have 2 Phoenixes in the air in addition to a Stalker. Are we going to Graviton Beam? Yeah, Graviton Beaming the Queen, and now dealing damage, but out comes some Zerglings. Zerglings now giving chase, and now that 1 poor Stalker is in trouble, unable to shoot down that Queen. The Queen is just low on hit points, and now the Stalker trying to run away from those Zerglings. They have the same movement speed, but the metabolic boost just completed just in time by Idra, and now using a Graviton Beam to at least get some kill there. 1 Zealot now holding position, trying to make sure that those Zerglings are not able to run through. The Zealot just going to be able to start slicing away, and those Zerglings unable to push their way through that very narrow gap. taking a look at the production or at the harvester count, we now see 28 harvesters versus 28 harvesters. TLO a little bit less just because he is mining off of 2 gas and is also mining off of 8 mineral patches instead of 16. Phoenix is now trying to come back in. There is a Spore Crawler in play, so that Spore Crawler will prevent any Phoenix harassment on the mineral line there. And this very, very early Phoenix army, which is giving TLO such dominant map control, is not able to do very much else. Oh, one Queen a little bit caught out of position and may get shot down in just a second. Another Queen trying to come back in, trying to get more damage in, and it looks like that Queen will get shot down. Graviton beaming another Queen, and now another Queen as well. So multiple Queens have been shot down. There goes another one, as there is not enough energy for another, enough energy for another Graviton beam, and now all 4 Queens may go down. This is gonna severely, severely hurt the production capability of Idra. So Idra now, instead of running off of what would have been 20 larvae a minute, is now running off of, I believe, 8 larvae a minute, and that is gonna hurt him. TLO is going to be in a very, very dominant position. One probe now trying to run away and not able to get shot down there. TLO should be able to set up a Nexus and mount a very, very strong attack here. But we do have a Hydralisk now, so the standing army of Idra may be growing in just a moment. And with that Zerg highway slowly being created, it's going to make it even more difficult. With Overlords now in the air, I believe the Phoenixes now just want to Graviton beam and now pick off some of those Hydralisks. Hydralisks are now getting picked off very, very easily as well. And now getting picked off and picked apart one at a time and now being moved back. Now we do see sentries and zealots over here. However, we're gonna have a little bit of a mismicro. Are we gonna get a force field? No, no force field on the ramp. And now Zerglings coming in comes those force fields. Finally, we need a Graviton beam some of those units, but wow, TLO moving out at just the wrong time. So many Hydralisks are close by, and now many of those Hydralisks are now down, taking down some of those other units as well. Those Queens being able to attack the air, being able to shoo back many of those Phoenixes. And now you have to remember that the majority of TLO's army are those Phoenixes. Those Phoenixes are very expensive units at 150 minerals. So right here is that 1,000 mineral army that you're currently taking a look at, and it's really not that strong against a swarm of Zerglings. Those Phoenixes do not have that much energy. We do see a Zealot now trying to warp in as well, probes coming in, and now in comes a Graviton beam trying to pick up some of those Zerglings, trying to make those Phoenixes and slowly take down that army. Zealots do not have the level 1 weapons upgrade, as we are still getting more Phoenixes added to the fleet. Chrono boosting on the Nexus over here, trying to get a stronger economy, and Idra at some point needs to take another base. Somehow Idra is still able to contain TLO, even though TLO does have a very decent sized army. He's somehow able to contain them, and now with so many Hydralisks in play, those Hydralisks are going to be a problem. Picking up one of those Hydralisks, down it goes, and now more Hydralisks trying to give chase. Once again, those Hydralisks move very, very quickly on creep, and now with no observers to try to clean up this creep highway, those Hydralisks will be able to chase those Phoenixes all across the map very, very easily. Hydralisks once again grouping back together. Phoenix is just wandering around the air, trying to see how much damage they can deal. More Phoenixes coming in. Another Hydralisk picked off out of position, and now another Queen going to get picked off as well. Down it goes, and now those Phoenixes need to back off, need to pull away. Otherwise, those Hydralisks are going to be able to get their spines into those Phoenixes once more. So TLO doing a great job, making Idra losing a lot of resources on these fights so far, but still he doesn't have a very, very effective army. Finally getting that chrono boost on that forge. He needs to get Zealot charge. Without Zealot charge, he's not going to be able to handle those Hydralisks. Phoenix is once again trying to come back in. That Hydralisk army being very, very smart to stay together and stick together. I think if those observers were able to shut down this creep highway, get a ramp, get a force field onto that ramp, and then take down this expansion, that would be a very, very effective use of TLO's time. Hydralisk quickly now trying to come in. Phoenix is pulling back. Zealots are in position. There is 2 photon cannons as well. Those photon cannons have a very, very large range of 6. And now those Zealots should be getting that level 1 weapons upgrade. Guardian Shield now coming in, and now Phoenixes should be trying to Graviton beam some of those Hydralisks. Hydralisks are getting picked apart one at a time. Zealots now just simply falling to the wayside. Those Phoenixes need to pull back. One Phoenix was taken down. More of those Zealots now coming in online. Once again, trying to Graviton beam, but not enough energy to constantly just micro more of these Hydralisks out of the sky. And now those Hydralisks being a very, very strong counter, and the sheer number of Hydralisks dealing so much damage against this expansion here. And now with only Phoenixes in the air, not going to be able to deal all too much. Zerglings now simply just going to run past probes coming off the mineral line. Hydralisks, or sorry, those Phoenixes once again graviton beaming many of those Hydralisks and picking them up one at a time. There you go. Finally able to clean up the majority of those Hydralisks there, and now cleaning up many of those Zerglings as well. Probes need to start engaging, otherwise this one Colossus will not be able to get enough damage, unable to one-shot any of those Zerglings, as it's only dealing 17 damage per swipe instead of 19, unable to deal that full 35 damage against those Zerglings. But yeah, doing a great job there. And now TLO in a very, very dominant position. Once again, 1,700 minerals versus 175. Production-wise, we now see Roaches currently being trained. And now Phoenix is once again on the move, just cleaning up so much of Idra. Idra is in serious trouble once again, as his economy is very, very much ahead at this time, as many of those probes are taken down. And we also see another expansion here. There is one queen, and that queen already knows what's going to happen. It's going to get graviton beamed and served up on that platter. Down it goes. Another drone's now getting picked up one at a time. Beautiful, beautiful Phoenix play. So many Phoenixes in the air. These 9 Phoenixes dealing so much damage, trying to get some more drone kills, trying to even up the economic advantage. And it looks like he has been able to have evened it up a little bit. Now down to 49 drones. These Phoenixes need to back off, as there are now Corruptors in the air. Corruptors do not deal additional damage against Phoenixes, and Phoenixes do not deal additional damage against Corruptors. But the way that Phoenixes deal damage, that double shot, it will reduce the amount of damage that they do from 10 down to 4 against those Corruptors, and that is a problem, especially if those Corruptors try to corrupt any of those Phoenixes. They will be taking additional damage. Now trying to go one at a time. Yeah, a fleet of what, Phoenixes unable to take down those Corruptors. The Corruptors actually have more hit points as well, so that really makes them very, very powerful. We still do not see any tech to tier 2, and now we have a lot of Corruptors in the air. The Corruptors are good against Phoenixes and also good against Colossi, so that is going to be a problem. We need to start seeing some Stalkers, and now we are getting some gateways as well, so Stalkers need to be trained. As those Corruptors are now coming in to engage, the Corruptors do have a decent range of 6, and now we'll be trying to come in. Stalkers now trying to get underneath those Corruptors. The Corruptors, however, pretty much unchallenged in the sky right now, as those Stalkers are not able to catch up to those Corruptors. That Corruptor army acting like Phoenixes, dominating the air and giving a lot of map control to Idra at this stage. The Corruptors hunting for those Colossi. Stalkers now coming in. Those Colossi are a little bit far away, unable to spot them over there, and I do not see any Photon Cannons either. Photon Cannons would be a very, very smart choice, and as those Corruptors would take full damage, and those the Photon Cannons have a range of 7. And now in come those Corruptors. The Corruptors still just flying around the air, just getting a lot of information, figuring out exactly what TLO is doing. Idra, on the other hand, is currently up on bases, one base ahead, able to mine at a faster rate, as the main base of TLO is now running low. Another expansion needs to be set up, as we have perhaps an engagement in the center of the map. Stalkers now trying to come in. Those Phoenixes now pulling back, able to get some damage, and now those Stalkers need to get some damage onto those Corruptors with no blink. That is going to be a problem. Level 2 weapons upgrade, missile upgrades for those Hydralisks and those Roaches coming online, or will be operational, or I guess will be evolved in just a moment, as we now have 13 Corruptors in the air. No tech to tier 3 though, so with no tier 3 tech, those Corruptors are not going to be able to deal all too much anything else after the Phoenixes and those Colossus are taken down. Army wise, 4375 versus 4850. And Idra somehow still in this game, balancing everything once again. So the superb macro of Idra doing a great job, even though if you take a look at the losses, 2,000 additional losses coming in. Stalkers now trying to engage. Stalkers will not be able to fight back against those Zerglings. Corruptors now coming in. Corruptors quickly corrupting all of those Colossus. Phoenix is now trying to fight back, but as soon as those Colossi are taken down, you can see what is happening here. Those force fields are doing a good job of preventing any of those Roaches and Hydras from being able to fight, but now those Corruptors are going to own the air, and now with no Colossi support, this is going to be a problem. This Hydralisk army now dealing a lot of damage against those Immortals, and I believe many more of those Corruptors still have that corruption ability in order to get more damage across multiple Immortals and Sentries. And now there's the GG coming in from TLO. So wow, really well played by Idra. Idra coming back from just a lot of losses, and then swinging this around. Just 2 minutes ago, Idra had lost 2,000 more minerals or 2,000 more resources in all of the fighting, constantly losing queens, constantly losing overlords, but Idra never gave up. TLO, on the other hand, I know Protoss isn't his strongest race, but he did choose random and he got Protoss, and he had to feel at least comfortable with it, and he was really effective with those Phoenixes, but he never got and he never transitioned into enough gateway units, enough stalkers to really challenge those corruptors. And then by the time those Colossi came out, those Colossi were just able to eat through, those corruptors were able to eat through so many of those Colossi. So EG wins this best of 7 series. Now, so taking a look at this, EG, it was 3-3 tied, and now EG wins it 4-3. 4-3, come on. Here on Metalopolis. So yeah, very, very well done. TL, both players splitting the 2v2 matches and the 1v1 matches, but finally it came down to the ace players. So taking a look at this right now, EG has won 2 of the best of 3s, so they are currently now in first place. They are also in a very, very good position against Prime, and also a very, very good position against Root. So they may be they may be able to win the #1 seed slot. I'm still not quite sure who's going to be winning the #2. Liquid has won 1. Also, Root has won 1 as well. It's really going to boil down to Root versus Team Liquid, and currently Root has a 3-1 lead here. So it may become an EG versus Root. I did try to make this an international event, bringing in some of the top European and you know, some of the Korean clans as well, and Team Liquid is also an international clan. But it may just boil back down to the Americas, Canada and North America, US, and battling it out for first. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay here on Metalopolis between Liquid TLO and EG Idra.